The Facebook Oversight Board, which chose to uphold former President Donald Trump's suspension from the social media site, is made up of human rights lawyers, constitutional law experts, and even the former Prime Minister of Denmark. We're taking a closer look at some of the factors they considered when making today's decision. Joining us now is Kate Klodnick. She's an assistant professor of law at St. John's University School of Law. Professor, I hope I got your name right.
Yes, Klodnick, yep.
Great. Thanks so much for joining us. So let's talk about what happened this morning. The social network's court-like, I guess, for lack of a better word, oversight board said Facebook can continue to block the former president from using its platform. How is this different from a formal judgment or adjudication?
Yeah, so the Oversight Board was created by Facebook to serve as an independent body outside of the corporation. It is independently funded with a $130 million irrevocable grant that is held in a trust. And so it has a significant amount of independence and is staffed by, right now, 20 world leaders in freedom of expression and international human rights. It's an incredible group of people. It does work like a court. It has sometimes been called the Supreme Court of Facebook. And I think that what we saw today with the decision that was made by the board in the case of Donald Trump's indefinite ban from Facebook, it's going to act more and more like a court than I think anyone even expected. This was a very judicial decision, a very legal decision, and it was given with a lot of reasoning and a lot of citation to international human rights law and existing beliefs about philosophy of law and proportionality and the rule of law.
And so, what the board had to look at was sort of two things, two ways in which the former president was punished. The two posts on Instagram and on Facebook were taken down. That was one punishment. And the other one was the indefinite ban or suspension, or however you want to describe it. So what they said was, we agreed with the decision, but we don't agree with this open-ended suspension of the president. I want to play a little bit of the sound from the board.
The board has given Facebook a clear direction. Make a decision in the next 6 months that is actually consistent with your own rules and reflects the seriousness of the violations that took place and the prospect of future harm. This means that Facebook should either permanently disable Trump's account or impose a suspension for a specific period of time. If Facebook opts to impose a new suspension before they can lift it, they must carefully assess whether restoring Mr. Trump's access is likely to lead to harm. And if it is, the board has told Facebook they should impose another suspension. Mr. Trump should not automatically get back onto Facebook and Instagram.
So the board, is basically saying, go back and look at your own policies, develop some policies, and then we can, take a look at this idea of an indefinite ban, because you don't have it sort of clearly mapped out. What factors did the board consider? Because, he was the president at the time, and so it's not like anyone putting misinformation online. It's the president of the United States putting misinformation online.
Yes. So, well, first of all, I just want to say that this is exactly, your characterization is exactly right. This is almost an admin law or an administrative law decision. This is the court saying, go back, get your rules in order, get your house in order. And then when you have all of that taken care of, we will consider your decision in the first place. This is something that on remand circuit courts do all the time. So that was kind of a fascinating thing to see. The other reason that it was fascinating was because there is in large part the idea that the Oversight Board was created to basically take on the incredibly intractable decisions of online free speech, of defining public figures, of defining newsworthiness, of defining ideas that we've never really been able to have definitions with in any court or any kind of society. And so the idea that the Facebook Oversight Board said, listen, we're not going to carry water for you, Facebook. We're not going to make these hard decisions. You make these decisions, apply them consistently with the principles and procedures and the rule of law, and then we will decide whether that has been correct. I think that is just such a smart elegant solution to this problem, and one that really holds Facebook accountable for maybe one of the first times that we've seen.
Professor, thanks so much for joining us. Really fascinating. And I think that we're going to be talking about this, as we've been saying, for quite some time, because as we start to sort of dissect this, it does leave still a lot of questions unanswered. And I don't know if the board has been able to sort of lay to rest some of those questions that a lot of people are going to have going forward. So we appreciate your time.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you.